Hey everyone, Tapdawg here. Today, I've got a very fun video to talk to you guys about. It's mostly going to be me talking, but I apologize. But I wanted to talk about the recent game updates that have happened in the last couple of months, the ones that have happened in the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, and then also kind of the future for this game and the future versions of this game. All of the information I'm going to be providing to you today is public knowledge that the game owners have given to us in our Discord. Monumental are the new owners of the game. They've been the new owners since the beginning of this year. And they have joined our Discord. They are active in there. They answer our questions occasionally. I will also say that take anything that's said with a grain of salt if it's anything talking about the future, because obviously things can change, their decisions and what they want to do might change, and we as a community might tell them things that will alter their vision, their focus, and what they're going to do. But with that being said, I kind of wanted to recap what's happened specifically pretty much since June or July is when we started to see actual game updates in our game. But I'll just kind of go through all those with you. I know not everyone's in the Discord, so everyone might not know about the changes or might not realize these changes have happened. So with that being said, we're going to start with the first thing, which is kind of the bad news, and that is the question of when will we see an actual game app update for the game? And the answer is probably never. Because of the way that Little Alchemist was originally created, it was made on a old platform that is no longer supported, that the owners of the game aren't able to access. And so, unfortunately, they can't claim the game as theirs. They're not able to switch the ownership from being Congregate to being Monumental. They are also not able to make any changes into the hard-coded information into the game. So because of that, we'll probably never see an actual update to the game on the App Store. But that's not a bad thing for two reasons. One, anything that is stored on the server on their end can still be updated, and the things I'm going to talk to you about today that have changed in the game are things that were stored on the servers, and so that's why they're able to change them. But long term, what that means is they're going to have to recreate the game. And so they're working on a new version of the game called Little Alchemist Remastered. And then long term, they'd also like to come out with a sequel to the game called Little Alchemist 2. So the biggest difference between these games, Little Alchemist Remastered is going to be nearly identical to the game that we play now. It will still use the same card artwork. They're going to update everything else, but they're going to keep the card artwork the same. But the card frames, the backgrounds, all that stuff will be updated for more modern computers and or mobile phones, or you know, the larger pixel density that you could have on your phone now versus back in the day. Little Alchemist 2 will be an entirely different game. It'll still have similar ideas to it, but it's a different type of game. So we don't know much about Little Alchemist 2. They're in very early discussions about that, so I'm not really going to talk about that at all, but I am going to talk about Little Alchemist Remastered because they've told us quite a lot about it. And again, everything I'm going to share with you is stuff that they've shared publicly with us in our Discord. So the first thing is it actually started development in August, the beginning of August, and they're rebuilding the game up in its entirety. They're rewriting the code from the ground all the way up. And they're doing it in a modern development environment, so that way it actually has people who can support it and know the code work and can actually write for it. Their hope is that it will be coming out sometime in the first half of next year. We don't have a good idea of exactly when, but they've said they want it out potentially. Originally they were saying maybe by the end of this year, but more than likely it'll be early next year. So that's why I'm saying the first half of next year. We don't have a more concrete date than that. They've also said it's going to play just like the Little Alchemist game that we all play now, but a lot of the graphics will be updated to accommodate for those larger number of pixels on a modern mobile phone. They're also going to be updating the user interface, characters, and campaign map art. Also card frames, store graphics, and reward stuff. But like I said, the card artwork itself probably won't be touched. If it is touch, they're going to keep the same art style, but maybe just make it so that the pictures are bigger so they can look larger on a screen of modern screens. The most important thing, you will be able to transfer your cards, your account, all your progress from Little Alchemist to Little Alchemist Remastered. They haven't figured out entirely how they're going to do this yet, but they do want to make sure everyone knows that you'll be able to keep your cards, your progress, from Little Alchemist to Little Alchemist Remastered. They also will probably still keep the original game, Little Alchemist, intact, so if someone doesn't want to move to the new game, they can still keep playing on the old game, but once you transfer from that one to the other, you won't be able to transfer again, so it's only a single-time transfer. So let's say you are playing both, you could potentially play both at the same time, I guess, having your old account and your new account. It'd be kind of like when you transferred from RuneScape, if you ever played that back in the day when they did RS Classic and RuneScape 3. You could choose between the two, but it would basically not let you transfer more than once. So same idea here. Now the top priority with Little Alchemist Remastered is to recreate the game in its entirety. So Arena, Heroics, normal events, those would all be there. And after that, they'll look at adding new features to the game, maybe new types of gameplay, or add new cards and new packs, things like that. But the first goal is just to recreate the game so that they're able to actually update it, have it as their own, all that type of stuff. And then one other comment that I wanted to make a note of, someone had asked them, when is there going to be a monumental premium pack? And the cards could be based on monuments or statues from around the world. And of course, one of the Diamond Final Form cards could be the CEO of Monumental, a guy named Monty. And the response to that was, we've been talking about ways to bring the community into Little Alchemist Remastered and potentially Little Alchemist 2. And they said you'll be more likely to see a Jokovic card before you'd see a Monumental one. So I think that's kind of cool. Maybe the idea of maybe some of the top recognized players get their own card in the game or get their own little homage in the game. So I thought that was awesome. I don't know if that'll actually happen or not, but that was something that they mentioned. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. Alright, so that's kind of the future aspect of the game, but let's talk about the present. Let's talk about the current game changes. I want to start, before I talk about specifics, I want to talk about kind of their goals when it comes to the current game changes that they make on the live servers. And they said that their goal is to make changes that are kind of small, but things that'll change the game economy when they feel confident that that change is going to be an improvement to the game. So they don't want to just, give out hundreds and thousands of dust and gems and coins and anything else you can think of and make the game too easy too quickly. They want to take baby steps. They want to make sure that what changes they make are going to be beneficial long-term to the health and vitality of the game. So with that being said, they have already made some really great quality of life changes. And I'm going to kind of talk about these in somewhat of the order that they changed them. You should probably already know about these. Some of them might have gone under your radar you didn't realize. So I want to talk about all of them in detail. First, we're going to talk about normal events, because that was one of the first things they changed. They have now reappeared in the game, and they're going to continually reappear, at least for the time being. They said they might look at that in the future and maybe make it only reappear a certain number of times. But for now, they're set to continually repeat. Again, those are the 10 events that you first played after you defeated Bridget. So it's really great for a lot of people. Like, I missed a couple of the events when I started playing the game because I didn't know about them, frankly. And I know a lot of other people had missed them as well. So now there's your chance to replay them. One of the nice things, too, is your diamond keys, or whatever you call those will actually continue to be held onto. So if you wanted to play through a couple times and save your keys until you could fully buy out someone, you're more than welcome to do that. That's one nice thing that they also saved. But basically every 150 days, the events will recycle for you. So you have 10 events, 15 days for each. So when you finish the monster event, which is the last event, a few days later, the bear event will restart. And again, you'll have 10 days of events, 5 days of pause, 10 days of events, 5 days of pause going forward. So it's kind of a fun thing that's going to allow everyone to get at least 3 copies of every event gold combo card, which is great. So I'm happy with that. That's going to allow people to have higher quality decks long term, and the longer they play, the more of those cards they'll have. It's going to also improve their heroics deck too. So that's a good change, and I'm happy with that. Another change, they've looked at energy. First, what they wanted to do was, everyone knows there's a 30 energy cap limit. They wanted to actually increase that. I don't know specifically to what, but that's what they were looking at, was potentially increasing the energy cap. Unfortunately, that's one of those things that is hard-coded into the game, so it's not on the servers. It's not something that they can change without the game being updated. Since they can't update the game currently, they did the next best thing. And that was in early July, they lowered the energy cost to do the battles with the bosses. So I know I talked about that before, and I actually made that video about the best boss to grind now. I'll put a link of that in the description. And so, they're taking baby steps. So they lowered everyone's energy cost by 1. They are thinking and looking into reducing energy costs further, but for now they've decided to keep it as is. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. I kind of have a section here at the end where I'll talk about just things that they've said that might come to the future, but we don't know. And so I'll talk more about that later. But for now, that is a physical change that's in the game. Everyone's energy cost got reduced by 1, and that was back in July. Also in July, another thing that they brought back was premium packs. As you've probably seen in the shop, those at first they were doing it one way, but now they've got it onto an actual schedule. So I wanted to pop that up on the screen. Now, I do want to note that this list I have up on the screen over here, is subject to change, and they might change it based on their own thoughts, or if people say, no, I really want this pack or something. But this is the official I'm backwards on the screen. This is the official list from now and through July. Hopefully we'll be on Little Alchemist Remastered before then, so we'll be able to see these in the new shop. But this is their current schedule: 2 packs a week, or 2 packs per 10 days. So basically you'll have 6 packs per month. Some months do have an extra pack, like October has the Halloween pack there, obviously. And I think there was an extra one in December for Christmas, Yuletide. Yeah, so different things like that will happen, but that's kind of fun. Also, all premium packs as of August are now going to cost 50 gems. Now, some packs will have 3 cards, some packs will have 4 cards. They're not going to change the cost on them, but regardless, that's cheaper than they used to be. On the cheap end, previously, it was 60 gems and 72 gems. So that's already a reduction, which is great. But speaking about gems, if you've not seen, there's a gem sale in the shop, and that was the only way they had the ability to reduce the price of gems. That is a permanent change, so even though it's a temporary sale, when it gets close to being over, they'll just renew the sale date. So the intent is for the cost of gems to be lowered, so that way you don't have to spend, a whole grip $100 for a pack of cards or anything like that. It's much closer to, I think it's $5 a pack, which in my mind is a lot more considerate. So I appreciate that from them. Also, there's some other changes for gems too. They're a lot easier to get, and that's going to deal with goblins, because that was another change that's happened in the game. In mid-July, they made it so all the goblins give out gems as an additional part of their rewards. So the bronze and silver goblins, which you see most of the time, they give you 1 gem. The gold goblin, which you see maybe 2 or 3 times a month, gives 5 gems. The diamond goblin, which you see about once a month, gives you 10 gems. And then the onyx goblin, which you had seen maybe every 3 to 4 months, gives 50 gems. But they've actually made quite a few changes to the Onyx Goblin King, and I want to talk about those because all of them are awesome and amazing. So first, with the events now repeating, I talked about that earlier, about a week ago, they've now removed all of those event gold combo cards from the drop table for the Onyx Goblin King. So you won't get stuck with, getting the Onyx Goblin King and then he drops a villain card. That happened to me 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, a week before they made the change. But the good news is he no longer will drop normal event gold combo cards. The other thing they changed to his drop pool is he used to have I think it was like a 25% chance of dropping the Onyx booster card, and they took that out as well. So now he either drops a gold combo card or he drops a Onyx combo card, which is great. I don't know the percentages because they haven't shared that with us. I would guess majority of the time you're going to get a gold combo card, and then a small amount of the time you'll get the Onyx combo card. I don't know percentages, so I can't tell you specifics. But then the most recent change, which happened yesterday, and you'll probably see this either tomorrow or sometime this week, is they reduced the spawn rate for the Onyx Goblin King from about every 110 days down to around every 35 to 40 days. So you'll be seeing him a whole lot more often, and because of that change, if you were, a month or more into your wait for the Onyx Goblin, you'll probably see him sometime this week. So if you see the Onyx Goblin this week and you feel like, ooh, that was really early, that's why. They made this change. And now you'll be seeing him nearly once a month, which is great. I like that. I'm happy with that. That's also going to increase the amount of gems that everyone gets per month, because you'll be getting almost 50 gems per month just from him. Which means you'll be able to buy at least one premium pack a month. Probably, I think you'll be getting close to 100 gems per month. So if you save that up for 2 months, you'll be able to buy roughly 4 packs at that time, which is great. The Scheming Pack's coming back in October. If you're wanting to save up, that's a good one to save up for. Next thing I want to talk about, Backfill Combos, my personal passion project. They have kind of added these into the game. They actually added 2 test backfill combos into the game this past week. Monkey plus Holy Water, which makes the Monkey Shaman, and then Prehistoric and Holy Water, which makes the Holy Grail. So the idea with that is they wanted to make sure, 1, that they'd be able to add them and it would work for everyone, but 2, I think what they've decided, and this hasn't been confirmed, so it's not entirely this way, but what they're thinking about doing is potentially coming out with a pack like they use the example of the Primate pack, and when they release the Primate pack, they would add all the backfill combos for the 2 combo cards. So that would be Monkey and Prehistoric. That's why they used a combo of each of those and put them into the game. The idea would be that it would make the Monkey pack, the Primate pack, I guess is what it's called, the Monkey card and the Prehistoric Onyx combo card more attractive, which would mean more people would spend money to buy those packs. So my recommendation is, if you see the Primate pack come out in the near future, please, please, please buy that. Show them that you like them adding backfill combos to cards, that you'd like to see it happen more often. And then hopefully, as they release packs into the shop every 10 days, those packs coming out will also give you the backfill combos for the cards that are in that pack. I don't know if that will be the case or not, but that's what it's kind of sounding like that they wouldn't want to do. So I really encourage you, if you see the Primate pack appear, please, please, please buy it. So that way they'll make more of these backfill combos. Next thing I want to talk about, last kind of update that we've seen in the game, it happened this week as well, was the coins and dust changes that have happened. So there were some major updates that came to the item shop. The basic pack, the basic box, and the upgrade booster pack all cost about 30% less gold than they did before. And so the box that used to cost 200 coins now costs 140 coins. You still get the same 4 cards that you would normally get, but instead of being 200 coins, it's 140 coins. The one that cost 50 is now 35, and then the upgrade boosts, which I think were 1,200, now cost 800. Now, with that being said, I still recommend purchasing the basic pack or the basic box, the one that costs 35 or 140, rather than the upgrade booster pack. And that's because the upgrade booster pack, it'd be the equivalent of buying, 4 or 5 of the basic boxes, but only getting bronze cards. And so it's just not as good as buying the basic box, because obviously you can get silver cards or gold cards in there, which dust for more. But in addition to this, the other reason why is because in addition to those boosts, the basic pack and the basic box got a 50% increase in the amount of times you'll see the silver card appear. So we believe that means that instead of having a 4% chance of getting a silver card in each card spot, you now have a 6% chance. And I actually got today, when I opened up my game and spent, I had one pack where I had 3 silver cards, which I've never had that happen before. I've had 2 golds before and a silver, but never 3 silvers. And so I think a lot more people are going to see something like that happen, just because that 6% chance is a whole lot higher, 50% higher than 4%. So it's great. So those are, again, the reasons why you'd want to buy the basic pack or basic box instead of the upgrade booster pack. But either way, you're going to be getting a lot more dust per day. With the events going on right now, I typically was averaging around 100 dust per day, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. Today, when I dusted everything, I had about 130 dust. So again, 30% less gold. It was about 30% more cards. So it makes sense. I'm excited about this. I think everyone else is too. You're going to be able to level up your cards a third of the time faster. So it's great. Okay, so last section I want to talk about is kind of a little bit longer, but this is about future changes or just musings that the new owners have talked about. Again, because none of these are actually in the game or changes that have happened, don't take these as canon. Don't take this as something that will be happening. This is just something that they've said they're looking into, or they might want to make a change. So the first thing that they said is stuff we're looking at between other tasks that we're working on. 1, we want to rebalance heroic rewards and the reward tiers. I agree with that. I think you spend, for the top players, you take about an hour to go through that, and you get 400 gold. You can get 400 gold from playing the normal events in about 5 minutes. So it's just the amount of time versus the reward is not there for the heroics. So I'd love to see them give you more gold for playing that. The other thing a lot of people talk about is the tiers are so weird. You have the top 20, then you go top 50, then the top 250, and then the top 1500. And because there's so many large gaps there, there's no real incentive for people to play every single day if they know that I can play one day and get this prize, or I can play 5 days and get the same prize. I'm just going to play one day because I don't want to waste my time on it. So it'll be nice if they're able to change that. Another thing they talked about, and I'll go more in detail on this, is rebalancing the orb cost to trigger fusion abilities. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Next, this is something that they've actually solved, but they wanted to figure out a way to safely move accounts between iOS and Android, or Android to iOS. So if you're in one of those situations where you're carrying around 2 phones, one's your Little Alchemist phone and one's your actual phone, because you couldn't trade because you had an Android and now you're on iPhone, or vice versa, they've solved this. You have to join our Discord and email them, and they'll be able to transfer your account from the one to the other. So just want you to know, if that's the situation you're on, join our Discord, link in the description. And then the last one, which we've already talked about this earlier, but they also want to add the backfill combos. And they're talking about the best way to do that, how they want to do it, all sorts of fun stuff. So now some musings, just things that the owner has said, and I'm going to say this how he wrote it, so I'm going to use the word I, but when I say I, it's not me, it's the owner of the company. I just want to make that clear. So he said this: I want the campaign battles, meaning the normal events, the normal battles that you do, and the portal battles to have a similar utility to the player. Maybe you get more experience from your campaign battles, and you get more dust from the portal battles. But I want them to have a similar value to the player. I don't want them to avoid doing the campaign because the portal's clearly a better use of their energy, or vice versa. Beyond overshadowing the campaign battles, I don't think there's a vicious cycle to portal events. My concern is that reducing energy cost of portal battles will further exasperate the difference between campaign battles and portal battles. I want to make campaign battles more attractive, so I've reduced the energy cost for campaign battles. This helped a bit, but not enough. So my next step might be to further reduce the energy cost for campaign battles, but I'm going to come across two road bumps. Number one, I might create a vicious circle with leveling, where you spend all of your energy and it generates enough experience for you to level your character, which will refill your energy and you'll be in an endless cycle. Or two, you might start creating a grind where it becomes not fun. So that's kind of his talk about the campaign battles and energy costs. So he wants to reduce the cost of energy, but he's concerned about it getting to a point where you would just keep playing and playing and playing. Not that that's a bad thing necessarily, but it could become broken. So he's very cautious to reducing energy further for that reason. I've given him a document that kind of shows what it would take to get to that spot where you'd be looping, and I think he could still reduce the energy at least by one more without that happening, and still making the game fun and making it easier to get dust and level up. So that's one little section. The next thing that was shared was this idea. I do love the idea of changing and expanding alchemist types. I'd love to see a necromancer ability that defies death, or a frost mage ability that shields your cards in durable ice, maybe a poisoner that drains life from your opponent, etc., etc. So this is something that they've talked about. I don't know if that would obviously it wouldn't happen in the current game. It could happen in the Little Alchemist Remastered if they wanted to come out with additional alchemist types, or more than likely it would probably be something that happens with Little Alchemist 2. I don't know though. It could be in Little Alchemist Remastered, but just the idea of additional alchemist types seems kind of cool and fun. We don't have much more off of that, but those are just a couple examples. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you was this, the thing I talked about earlier. This was something that was brought up in our Discord. Monty said, I'm very curious as to what would happen to the metagame if we changed the cost of fusion abilities. I'd love to see some of the underused fusion abilities costing 0 to 2 orbs. For example, what if block costs 0 orbs to use? And so that got me thinking, you'd probably see a lot more stall decks, right? If block is the lower quality version of protection, so whatever your card's defense is, it does half as much defense. So if your card had 20 defense, it would give you 10 extra defense, so the card would have 30 defense. So I was like, that'd be kind of cool. The other one he talked about was, what if curse costs 0? So, or cost 1. So you'd be able to block an attack that comes in because it would do 0 damage to you and let you be able to stall that way. So I thought it would definitely change the meta of the game. It would make for a lot more differences in it. They'd have to be careful because you wouldn't want to make critical strikes cost 0, obviously, because then someone could kill you on the first turn. So there'd have to be a balancing there, but the idea of the underutilized fusion abilities costing less to make them more attractive is definitely an awesome idea. I think that would happen in Little Alchemist Remastered. I could see them having a beta testing there to see how it works, if it'd be overpowered, so on and so forth. But anywho, this is a long video, almost 30 minutes long, and that's just kind of a little bit of the future and current changes. I'd like to know, did you guys like this? Do you want me to make these updates more often anytime we get news about information about the future or current updates that are happening in the game? Let me know in the comments down below. I love reading them. I try to respond to as many as I can, if not all of them. But with that being said, thank you guys for joining me today. This is Tapdawg with Little Alchemist Helper, and hopefully I will see you again real soon. Bye.